talk about this one first, right? You can put this in there. Lesson 6.2, what we call our, thank you, binomial probability, okay? First of all, we have to consider 4 different cases for our binomial probability. And what are those? Let's read these ones. Well, these 4. Mason, go ahead. Let's read the first 2.
Fixed number of trials and independent events.
Thank you. Okay, so fixed number of trials, and that is what we call our n. Okay, so that can be like how many flips of a coin will there be? Okay, so those are the number of trials, right? Number of repetitions of the experiment itself. Okay, and also that the events must be independent of each other. Okay, so that means whatever the outcome of the second event, it is not dependent on the first event. Okay, so that means they don't affect the outcome of any trial. Good, right? The other 2, let's read this one in here. Giselle, go ahead, please.
Mutually exclusive events.
Thank you. And the last one? The probability.
The desired event is the same for each trial.
Thank you, right? So the events are mutually exclusive. Okay, so that means, let's say, probability of winning or losing, right? So there's no event where you're gonna win and lose at the same time, okay? Odd and even, okay? So as long as the events are mutually exclusive, they cannot be occurring at the same time, then that's mutually exclusive. And the last one is, supposing that the probability of success or desired event is 0.2, then that means it's 0.2 for any trial in there. Okay, so that will be the probability of the desired event. By the way, I put in here desired event because in some cases, it's not only the probability of success, because in some cases, you want to consider what's the probability of losing, right? So that means it can be a desired event as well, right? Depending on the situation, it's the same for each trial. Okay. So, and again, we're gonna use our StatCrunch for such. You go to StatCrunch, you go click on Stat, you go click on Calculator, and choose the binomial calculator. You're gonna see this kind of platform that has the x-axis from 0, 1, 2. That means discrete number of trials. Your n is how many trials or repetition of the experiment you're gonna do. Your p is what's the chance or the probability of the desired event, whether losing or winning it will be, okay? And x in here can be exactly equal to, less than, or at most, greater than, or equal to, or at least that value. How many desired events do you want to have out of those trials? And whatever your answer is gonna be, then that is your chance of the event exactly, at least, or at most happening. Okay, well, anyway, let's consider that one. Since, you know, it's springtime, let us consider this case of, yeah, I'm just waiting for this to happen because it's getting warm already, and, you know, you can see all of the pollen and everywhere, you know. So, allergy, right? Let's read this number 38 in here and see how we can work on this one, okay? Number 38. Oh, well, let's read it for this one first, okay? Journey, can you see it from there? Clarinets.
Clarinet D is a medication whose purpose is to reduce the symptoms associated with a variety of allergies. In clinical trials, Clarinet D, 5% of the patients in the study experience insomnia as a side effect. A random sample of 20 Clarinet D users is obtained, and the number of patients who experience insomnia is reported. Find the probability that exactly 3 experience insomnia as a side effect.
Thank you, right? So again, it is known that 5%, okay, of those patients taking Clarinex D will have what? Insomnia, right? Okay, as a side effect. Okay, so anyone in here who has some other like side effects or conditions when you're taking allergy medications other than insomnia? Sometimes what? Drowsiness, right? Sometimes what? Different things, right? Okay. Again, in here, it was used for a random sample of 20. Okay. Let us read letter A and how we can work on that one. Okay. Brett, go ahead, please. Find the probability.
Find the probability that exactly 3 experienced insomnia as a side effect.
Thank you. All right. So find the probability or the chance that the word is what? Exactly. Okay. Not at least, not at most, not in between, but exactly. Okay. So exactly 3 have experienced insomnia as a side effect. Out of how many? 20. Thank you. Very good. Right, so again, in here, what do we use then? Do we use the equal sign, less than equal to, or greater than equal to? If it says the word exactly.
Equal to.
Equal to, all right? Thank you. That is correct. So again, you see the key terms in here, right? Exactly, that means equal sign. Okay. Anyway, let us use our calculator now. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to our. Okay. We're gonna use our StatCrunch. Okay, so let's go to our StatCrunch. Here it is, and let's open the StatCrunch itself. Okay, so you know what? Just basically go ahead and open anything, and I'm just gonna click on this. All right, so just go ahead and open anything as long as you have your StatCrunch open. Click on what? Stats. Okay. After that, you go to what? Calculators. Okay. So after the calculator, we're gonna go to binomial. Are you following, guys? All right. So once again, oops, there we go. Okay. So stats, calculator, binomial. So we have this one in here like such. Let me just go ahead and X this out. So as you may notice, the y-axis in here is the probability, okay, from 0 to 0.25, but obviously it can go up, right, until 1, okay. In here, those are the number of desired outcomes, okay. So your n in here is how many trials you need to have. In short, in there, how many patients were actually considered for the study?
20.
20. Thank you. That is correct. So your n in there is 20. Your p, what did it say in there? Typically, what percentage of the patients will, be tested to what? Have this side effect of insomnia? 5%. So in terms of decimal, that's going to be what? 5 divided by 100, which is what? 0.05. Thank you. And as you may see, your x in here, it says exactly. So again, the keyword is exactly. I'm going to click on equal sign. And I'm going to click in here the number. How many are expected to have insomnia? 3. Right? So exactly equal to 3. Now I'm going to click on compute. And that basically is the answer. Okay? Right. So what's that in there? 0.0596. Typically in our Pearson homework, it allows you to have rounding off to 4 decimal places. In this case, 0.059. After 5 is 8, so round up, right? So that's 0.596. Questions, guys? Okay, so basically this is procedural solving problems, right? Again, if you see the word exactly, click on equal sign. Okay, so that will be it. So what's the answer in here? 0.0596. So let's go back in there and put in the answer for such. There you go, right? So 0.0596. Questions, guys? We can also verify the answer using a free Desmos calculator like such. So if I go to Desmos, and you can follow along with me, guys, as well, just put it in here like such as well. The following: binomial dist. Okay, that means distribution. Okay, so once again, I put in here binomial dist without space. That's binomial distribution. And it says in here, trials, comma, success probability, right? So trials, how many trials were in there? Random sample of how many? 20, thank you. Comma, what's the probability of success? Actually, not success, but the occurrence of the side effect, 5%. So I'm going to put in here 0.05, okay? So as you may notice in here, there are already dots from 0 to 20, okay? However, you just want what? Exactly equal to 3. So how do you do that? So check it out in here. Where is that number 3? Okay. See that one, guys? And that will be our answer, right? There's also one more thing, right? If you can click on this CDF and then put on the minimum and maximum the same number, I think it would work as the same, right? 3 and 3 as well. So as you may notice, it gave you the answer for such 0.0596 as well. Okay, so again, whether you're using StatCrunch or Desmos, you will arrive at the same answer. Again, in Desmos, there'll be binomial dist, no space, parenthesis, how many trials are there? In this case, 20, random sample 20. What's the chance of getting the side effect? 5% in decimal. And you want exactly 3, so that means the minimum and maximum are the same values. Questions? Okay, so either you use Desmos or StatCrunch, you will have the same exact answer. Okay, so 0.0596. Now, let's go back to the question and see letter B. Okay, let's read letter B and see how we can work on that one. Venus, let's read the letter B.
Find the probability that 3 of the experienced insomnia has been satisfied.
Thank you. Okay, so it says in here a probability that 3 or fewer experienced insomnia as a side effect. 3 or fewer. So when you say 3 or fewer, then that means 3 is the what? At most 3. Get it? Very good. That is correct, Mason, right? So when you say 3 or fewer, then that means 3 is the maximum, right? And so that will be less than or equal to 3, all right? So with that being said, let's go back to Desmos this time and put it in here, right? So 3 is the maximum. What's the minimum then? 0. All right. And what did we get as our answer? 0.9841. That is 0.9841. Now, as you may notice in here, out of 20, only these will be that. Okay, so you might be thinking, where did they get that 0.9841? Okay, so let's look in here, right? If I click in here, okay. What do you think is the relationship between 0.9841 and these 4 values of the probability? It's the sum. Very good, right? If you add 0.06, round it off, 0.189, 0.377, and 0.358, then that will be 0.984. Okay? Now, again, this is basically just procedural. If you go back to your binomial calculator, and put it in there, the same thing, okay? Oops, what did I do? Okay, so X in here, I'm gonna click on what? Less than or equal to, okay? And that is 3, and I'll click on compute for such. Oh, I think I already clicked on compute anyways. Okay, there we go. So as you may notice, it turned out to be what? 0.9841 as well. Similar to what we got in our Desmos. Okay, so again, whether you use Desmos or StatCrunch, you will arrive at the same answer. Questions, guys? Next one in here. Letter C. Let's read that letter C and work on that one as well. Okay. Caroline, let's see that one. Letter C. Can you see it from there? Yeah, thank you.
Find the probability that between 1 and 4 patients inclusive experience insomnia as a side effect.
Thank you. Okay. So find the probability that between, okay, 1 and 4 patients, and again, the word is inclusive. Okay. It didn't say between 1 and 4, right? It says it says between 1 and 4, but it says inclusive. In short, it includes 1 and 4 patients as well. So definitely that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see how we can work on this, okay? Let's go back to our StatCrunch. As you may notice, I keep on switching from StatCrunch to Desmos. At least you have 2 options to work on, okay? So if I go to my StatCrunch, where is it? Here it is. So if I click on in between in here, okay, see what I did? Okay, this is the standard a while ago, but if you see the word in between, then what do you click? See this?
Between.
Okay, click that between, and as you may notice, it would change this to 2x values considered. Okay, and you put in there what values?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. Inclusive, so that means it includes 1 and it includes 4 as well. Okay, so if we click in here, again, your N is still 20 patients considered, and 5% will, tested to be having the side effect of insomnia. Okay, and as you may notice, from 1 to 4, as you may notice, there's equal sign as well. That's 0.6389, okay? So as you may notice, 1, 2, 3, 4 are all colored in red. We consider those cases. Johnny, question?
I think I just figured it out. I was because mine was giving me different answers.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just click on between in there first, okay? So at least your X will be having 2 values. 1 on its right, left, by the way, left, and 1 on its right. Now, let's see, is it the same as our decimals? By the way, where did you get 0.6389? That means if you add this height, which is almost 0.4, I would imagine, right? 0.4, and that's what? 0.2, that's already 0.6, right? 0.1, so more than 0.6 already, okay? Now, let's see, is it the same in here? So, doing the same, I'm going to put in here what? Minimum is 1, maximum is how much? 4. Thank you. Right? And as you may notice in there, it highlights the following values for X. 1 person who will get the insomnia side effect. 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Yeah. So which means that if we add all of these probabilities together for 4 having insomnia, 3, 2, and 1, by the way, exactly, then you would get 0.6389 as well. Questions?
Always, we can use Desmos or StatCrunch.
Yes. As you may notice in there, and yes, as you may notice in here, I guess last time I'm noticing that this is just for 3 decimal places, but actually if you see the term in here, it has all the decimal places that you need anyways, right? So I would say both can be considered. Okay, so just be careful because our typical for our homework is 4 decimal places for rounding off, but I would say just in Desmos, do not look at these values, look at this value. Okay, questions? And yes, that will be our binomial probability. Okay, and you know what? We only have one last question in here. Letter D. Let's read that letter D. Okay, Brittany, go ahead, please. Would it be unusual?
Would it be unusual to find 4 or more patients who experience insomnia as a side effect of QUAN-do?
Okay, 4 or more patients having insomnia as a side effect. So when you say 4 or more patients, then that means 4 is the what? Is the minimum. That's the least value, right? There we go. That is correct. Andrew, again, it says in here, 4 or more. Okay. So that means that's what? The probability that your x is what? Greater than or equal to 4. Okay. 4 is the minimum. Yes, that is correct. And what is the maximum, by the way? 20. Thank you. That is correct. All the patients to consider for such. Okay. So let's go back to our stat crunch and put it out in there. So P, I'm gonna go back to standard. Okay. So again, this is not in between. I'm gonna go back to standard. I'm gonna click in here and click on what? Greater than or equal to, because it says 4 or more, not more than 4. 4 or more. So that means it includes 4 as well. Okay. You see the terms, guys? When you say more than 4, then that means it does not include 4. Okay. But if you say 4 or more, then that means it includes 4. Okay. So just be careful with those wordings. Okay. Greater than equal to 4, and here it is. Okay. So as you may notice, it considers values 4, 5, 6 until when? What
20.
number? 20. Very good. That is correct. All the random sample consider. Okay. And how much is that? 0.059. Okay. So what can you say about 0.059? Is it impossible, unusual, likely to happen, or sure it will happen? What do you think about 0.059?
Unusual.
Unusual. Very good, right? That is correct. It's rare that is going to happen. Okay? Questions? Now, let's put it in here as follows as well. So in here, the same. I'm going to put the minimum as 4 and the maximum as what? 20. Very good, right? So as you may notice in there, if I see in here, okay, so where's that? Until 20. I just want to consider those until 20, okay? I'm gonna click on all of those, okay, from 4 to 20. This is 4, 5, 6, 7. And as you may notice, it's basically essentially 0 already from there, okay? So it's basically impossible, okay? So it only considers those near values. And as you may notice, if you add all of those near values, it basically just gave you 0.059, which is basically correct. It will unusually, it's unusual, right? For what? 4 or more people to experience what? Insomnia as a side effect for this allergy medication. Questions, guys? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we can pause that one.